Good evening, dear students from all over Egypt. Welcome to today's session. With you today, Ms. Wafa Hassoub, and today, inshallah, we will continue your wonderful book about programming and artificial intelligence. And the lesson for today is about utilization and disclosure of information. So, how can we use information and how can we disclose it to other people or expose it to other people? Are there any rules to protect our information? Of course we have. So, starting with purpose of copyright. So, how can we protect our information through different ways, starting with something we call copyright. So, the purpose of copyright is a copyright aims to contribute to cultural development by ensuring the fair use of copyrighted works and the protection of rights. So, we use the word copyright to protect our work from being used by others for free, for any damages they want to do without our permission. So, this is the purpose of copyright. Copyright has two main goals. Of course, fair use means to allow people to use creative works in certain ways to help society learn and grow. So this is the first use of copyright. We should allow people to use our creative works for writers, for anybody, okay, in certain ways, just to let them learn, grow, educate, entertain themselves. And the second main goal for copyright is to protect rights. So the protection of rights means to protect the creator's rights so they get credit and can benefit from their work. But it's not okay for someone to take your whole comic. Meaning, if you have a wonderful novel, you created your own self, okay? It's good to let people read it and enjoy it, but you don't, or they don't have the right to give the credit to themselves, to say they created it, not you. So this is the purpose of copyright. Fair use, we let people enjoy our work, but protection of rights, we want to protect our right, okay, of writing this novel or doing this creative work. So it's okay for your friends to use a tiny part of your comic in their school project to help them learn, which we call fair use. But they put their name on it and sell it. The rule protects you and your hardware, which we call protection of rights. So they can use part of your work. They can enjoy reading it, but to steal it, to put their names on it, or to get profits by selling it, no, they don't have the right for it. That's why we have the rights or the copyright, protection of rights. Example 1, a teacher can copy one page from a storybook to read to the class. This is fair use for education. Example 2, you cannot take a whole song from your favorite singer and post it on your YouTube channel as if it's yours. That would break the protection of rights rule. Well, of course, as usual, if we have a protection of rights, we have exceptions of copyright infringements. So what are the exceptions? We will know them in a while. Exceptions under the purpose of copyright. There are exceptions where the copyright can be limited to allow use without obtaining permission from the copyright holder. Reproduction for private use, reproduction within educational institution, and non-profit performance, etc. Well, what does this mean? It means you don't always need to ask for permission in cases like private use, school use, or non-profitable performance. So if you created a novel or you created a story, we can use it for school. We can use it for on private, as for your friend, your brother, and so on. We can use it, okay, without selling it, without getting money paid for it. So this is a fair use or exception for the purpose of copyright. Okay, we can go jail for these stuffs or for these reasons. There are special times when the rules are more relaxed, usually when you are not trying to make money from it. For example, you buy a music CD and copy the songs to your own personal MP3. And of course, when you copy it to your own personal MP3 player to listen to, this is reproduction for private use. So you buy a music CD, you don't steal it, and you copy the songs to your own personal MP3 player, you copy it to your phone, your tablet, your mobile, your computer, and so on, just to listen to them. This is a reproduction for private use. Example 2, your school's drama club performs a short play for a book for the school festival without charging anyone for tickets. This is a non-profit performance. Non-profit performance, of course. Well, now we are going to speak about quotation. So, quotations, the act of using a portion of another person's copyrighted work in your own copyrighted work. So, if certain requirements are met, portions of a copyrighted work can be quoted without obtaining permission from the author. This is when you use a small part of someone else's work in your own creation, like a report or essay. So if you are writing a book report, it's okay to include a few sentences directly from the book to prove a point, but you have to do it properly. Quotation methods and rules. So, what are quotations and why do we need to use them? Quotation methods and rules. Your work is main. Your own copyrighted work takes procedures or takes precedence, while the coded work is subordinate. Your own copyrighted work is the subject. It means that the work you create is the main thing that we need to focus on. Okay, so your own copyright work takes precedence, means it comes first, while the coded work is subordinate. Just I'm using it to give more clarification to my work, more explanation to my work. Okay? So the coded part should be smaller than your own original work, of course. And something that's really necessary for you, the necessity for you, there must be a necessity to engage in quotation. You must have a good reason to quote it. So, and third thing, clear marking. You must put the coded text in quotation marks. So these are the rules for quotation. You know what's quotation? Okay, to take others' words and put it in quotation marks, between quotation marks. Just use them to give more clarification, more explanation for my work. So the rules are, your work must be bigger and the quotation words must be smaller. You need to code them when you have a necessity for it. So when you have to do it. And of course, you must put quotation marks, okay, or put the text coded between quotation marks. So these are the 3 rules for quotation methods. And of course, rule number 4 is cite the source. So I quoted from Taha Hussein verse. I have to mention that these words belong to Taha Hussein, not my own words. So cite the source. Ensure that the coded material is clearly identifiable by enclosing it in quotation marks. The source is clearly specified. You must clearly say where you took the code from, book title, author, website, and etc. And the most important part is no change. Don't alter the coded material. So I coded words from Taha Hussein. I don't have the right to change his words. These are the words that came from his mouth. I don't have the right to change them, but I use them, okay, in my subject, in my text, just to give more explanation for what subject I am explaining, but without changing them, without altering the words. You cannot change the words of the coded text. And we have protection period. So setting the duration of protection, the economic rights of the author expire 50 years after the death of the creator. So I can't take anything for free except after the death of the writer and the pass of 50 years after his death. I can take it for free and I can do whatever I want with it. Of course, after I cite the source for it, but I can use it in my work, in my books, whatever I do, they can charge me for it. The economic rights of a creator lasts for 50 years after their death. After that, the work can often be used more freely. Well, summary for that and examples for it are, so the rule, your work is the main part, the code is just a small part. For example, your 5-page report on planets uses one famous line from a scientist. Your report is the main part. Rule 2, you must use quotation marks around the copied words. Look to the example. You write, as Neil Armstrong said, that's one small step for man. And we have the quotation marks here. It shows that these words were said by Neil Armstrong, not by me or by you or by whoever. Rule number 3. You must say where you got it from, the source for these words. Look to the example. You add from the NASA Apollo 11 transcript. And rule number 5, you cannot change the coded words. For example, you cannot change the code to that's one big step for a man. No, you have to bring his own words. That's one small step for a man. And we now have Creative Commons license, CC license. So what is it? It's a mark indicating the conditions for using copyrighted work. So Creative Commons or CC license, these are sample symbols creators can use to tell you how you are allowed to use their work without having to ask them directly. So sometimes creators, okay, Give us some samples to other people, to the audience, to let them know how they can use their work. So that samples, or these samples, we call Creative Commons license or CC license. So instead of emailing the creator to ask for permission, they put a badge on their work that tells you the rules for it. Now we have license types. How can we use their work through license? And there are types of license. So, license types and examples. First, by credit. So you must show the creator's name and the work title. Show their name and their title to show credit. Credit means العرفان بالجميل. And this is the simple for it. Okay, so credit, we simple to it by this circle and a person inside it. So you must give credit to the creator. For example, you use a CC by photo in your presentation. You must write photo by creator's name underneath it. Example 2, use a CC by song in a video. You must let the song and the artist in the video description. And the second type of license, we have NC or non-commercial. So it's not profitable. You cannot use the work to make money. And this is a sample for it. So NC is like this circle, and we have here this spring shape inside it. So this shape or this sample here represents non-commercial. Non-commercial. For example, you can use an NC image on your free personal blog. Example 2, you cannot sell t-shirt with an NC image printed on them. So non-commercial here means that you don't have the authority or have the permission to sell that thing. That we call NC. Well, still with the license types and examples, we have ND now. It's no derivatives. No derivatives means you cannot change the work. And this is a sample for it. So whenever you find this sample, it means that the creator doesn't give you the permission, okay, to change his work. If you find this sample, it means don't change the work. For example, you can share an ND video, but you cannot edit it to make it shorter or add funny music. You have to use it as you take it or as you buy it. So you can print an ND poster, but you cannot cut out parts of the image to use separately. And now we have another license. It's SA or share alike. Share alike. So if you change the word, you must share your new version under the same license. So we call it share alike. And the sample for it is like this. So whenever you find this sample, it means share alike. Look to the example we have. You remix an SA song. You must let others also remix your new version. So this is share alike, okay? So you mixed one person, one song, and let other to remix your own. Example 2, you create a collage from SA images. You must allow others to use your collage itself to make their own creations. And now, dear student, practice makes progress, and practice makes perfect, of course. So do it with us. Choose all statements that allow for the use of copyright works without permission. Add an exception from the options A to D below and answer using the letters. A. I copied the materials and distributed them to students in my social studies class. Well, of course, the use of copyrighted works in the course of teaching falls under reproduction in educational institution, and works can therefore be utilized without obtaining permission from the copyright holder. So we use them for school. So we are not under the obtaining permission from the copyright holder or the creator itself. We don't need permission from him because we use it for school. Okay. B. I copied commercially available music CDs and distributed them to friends. Well, copying commercially available CDs and distributing them to friends doesn't qualify as reproduction for personal use and constitutes copyright infringement. Now we have C. We charged an admission fee and performed a K-pop medley at our band's regular concert. So, since an admission fee is charged and the usage doesn't fall under the condition of a performance not for profit, this usage constitutes a copyright infringement. Well, we have D. I coded a section of a book when writing a report. Do you remember? So in the case of quotations, a copyrighted work can be used in one's own creation without obtaining permission from the creator of the other work. Therefore, it's A and D. Now, another question for you, dear student. Choose all statements that correctly describe the method and rules of quotations from the options A to D below and answer using letters. So, even when coding, it's always necessary to obtain permission from the creator. Well, there is a necessity to code and the portion being cited is subordinate. C clearly indicates the coded materials by enclosing it in quotation marks. And D, regardless of the reason, you mustn't modify the materials you are coding. And the correct answer is gonna be B. There is a necessity to code and the portion being cited is subordinate. C. Clearly indicate the coded materials by enclosing it in quotation marks. And of course, D. Regardless of the reason, you mustn't modify the materials you are coding. Don't alter or don't change them. Well, do you remember these samples? Well, when publishing a photo you took on a web page, you want to allow others to use it on the condition that the name of the photographer and the title of the work are displayed. So which one here shows the name of the photographer and the title of the work are displayed and the work is not altered? Which one here shows that the work is not altered? At this time, choose all the Creative Commons license that should be displayed in combination from the options A to D below and answer using letters. Okay, so be with me, please. Starting with what is represents display. It's cis, of course. And D represents non-commercial. Do you remember the shape? Yes, exactly. This is the sample of non-commercial. What represents none or no derivatives works? Okay, don't change it. It's this. This is the sample for no derivatives work. And to represent same terms for adaptions, and of course, this is the sample for it. So the correct answer is gonna be A, to represent the title, okay, and the name of the author, and C, don't change the coded text or don't try to alter it. So it's A and C are the correct answers. Well, that was the end for today's session. Thank you, dear student, from me, for all best wishes. Thank you. Goodbye.